Yes, Nessa Nation, you know this is a show where we react to what you're talking about in your group chat. That's right. Boston has entered the chat here Wednesday, June 4th. Glorious. Travis Thomas, George Balekji, how you doing, my man?
Doing good, my man.
You ready to
start
go?
hour two with you? Oh, of course. I mean, we got a good one on this one. I mean, not good to start on. Red Sox drop another one-run game, but we hear from Alex Cora the accountability. We'll get into Tibbs getting fired by the Knicks. Got a special guest joining us for that. And we'll get into a little more on Stefon Diggs. It just keeps on going with him.
I can't. It was Bill at first, Bill and Jordan. And we talked about them every day. And I was like, I can't wait for this to be over. And then it kind of feels like, I don't want to jinx us, knock on wood, kind of feels like we're out of those woods. And then Stefon Diggs and Cardi. They did, like they took the torch like the Olympics.
It's karma for the amount of crap we were talking about Bill and Jordan.
I know.
That's what gets me on all this.
Hey, if you want to talk crap with us, email us, thechat@nesson.com. Tweet at us using the hashtag NessonChat. Call us, 617-790-0928. We always play your voicemails, whether we agree or disagree. That's the fun. We want to hear from you. So let's get into what's trending in the sports world right now. And we'll start with the Red Sox. You teased it there at the top. 4-3. Another loss in extra innings to the Angels this time. George, I just can't even take it anymore at this point. I mean, how many times do we have to watch this team late in games, close games, lose, mistakes, errors? They lead Major League Baseball in errors, by the way. Like, it's Groundhog's Day all over again. It's a nightmare scenario every single time. I used to, in these scenarios, say, okay, here we go. We're going to figure it out. We're going to win this one tonight. Now we get to late games, and I'm just like, here we go again, George.
Well, even game one against the Angels to go down with Richard Fitz getting all...
He got shelled early.
Exactly. All in the first inning, and then they fought back, but end up losing 7-6. Then you go to last night, it goes to extras. They fall 4-3. But it's also having 3 fielding errors, having a mistake by Cedane Rafaela, missing a cutoff man and throwing towards home. And then after the game, still saying, I think I could have made that throw. I think that's still the right play. You hear Alex Cora come out, be dejected, be fed up, be so frustrated, aggravated, and in a way just, like not disconnected. But again, I go back to the fed up of, I've done everything I can as a manager. They got to apply it on the field. And it's, in a way, it's like the players are just not listening. That's such a tough spot to be in for a manager and for a team with so much talent to keep losing the same way, striking out a ton. They have the second most strikeouts in Major League Baseball since the month of May. Like for last night, going 1 for 13 with runners in scoring position. Man on second in the 9th and 10th, and just 3 outs to follow, can't do it. That's what makes this Red Sox team frustrating to watch because we know they're capable of more. They're not tapping into that.
You mentioned Alex Cora, and you mentioned a great word, dejected. I feel that way. You feel that way. Alex Cora feels that way as well. Take a listen to this.
I mean, we keep making the same mistakes. We're not getting better. At one point, it has to be on me, I guess, right? I'm the manager, so, you know, I got to keep pushing them to be better. They're not getting better. They're not, you know. We keep making the same mistakes. You know, I'll be very honest about it, very open about it, you know, like, you know, you get frustrated, but at one point it's like, okay, what are we going to do? What's going to change, you know, because we keep doing the same thing. We can keep talking about one-run losses. They're, what, 17, 18, whatever it is, you know, and it's the same thing. So, I mean, is it effort, preparation? Like Duke said, attention to detail, you know, I have no idea now. You know, I watched that game, I was like, wow, you know, this is real, you know, and, I mean, it's frustrating.
No answers, just like the rest of us. None of us have any answers here. And, you know, George, I'm a huge fight fan. You know that, boxing, MMA. There's a saying in the fight game where certain fighters who, let's say they're knockout artists, right? They go through a couple losses. They hire a new trainer. Get rid of their old guy who got them there, was loyal. Fire him, bring in this new guru type, right? Now they're going to teach you how to box, right? All the fundamentals. And, great. Looks great. You get to the fight. First round, you get hit. You go back to your old ways. All the stuff you learned is out the window. The second you get hit, you go back to what you know. I feel that way with the Red Sox. Like, this team has been built on the new age baseball. It's analytics, it's exit velo, it's launch angle, it's all these things. That's why the strikeouts are there. This feels like they should be playing small ball and really good defense. And you'll be in close games with that formula anyway, but you'll win them.
And you set yourself up for success. You don't be the reason. That's the thing.
Yes.
With you see the fielding errors, when you see the mistakes, going for the double play instead of throwing the ball home like Abraham Toro at third and preventing a run.
That's right.
And what jumped out to me with Alex Cora saying not getting better, same mistakes, change. Is it effort? Is it prep? I don't know. You just hear him saying, man, this is real, where it's settling in of they've tried multiple things. He goes, look, I'm getting frustrated, but we got to find the solution.
Right.
He's tried different solutions, and the result is the same thing.
That's right. And that's what I'm saying. I don't feel like now all of a sudden they can change tactics and change everything and change our identity. It's too late for all that. And by the way, there are fans saying bring up Roman Anthony and thinking that will spark and turn around the season. I was one of those once upon a time. I no longer believe that to be the case. Now, if you bring him up because you want to get a look and you want him acclimated to the majors, that's a different story. But he's not turning this around. It's not going to be one player that does this.
You could add Shohei Ohtani to this lineup. It's not going to turn it around. Again, they're making too many mistakes with the simple things.
That's right. All right, how about this? The Knicks fire Tom Thibodeau despite beating the Celtics and reaching the Eastern Conference Finals. Is this so New York or what? So, of course, Celtics Twitter went crazy. Bing bong! Tibbs is no longer the Knicks head coach. I mean, they're just laughing at this. Look at Joe Mazzulla. So cute.
Love that from no context.
I mean, just adorbs with the trophy. This happened literally seconds after Tibbs got fired. Here's another one from Steve Popper. Heard from a source before the Boston series that Tibbs believed he needed to win that series to stay. And that turned out to not be enough. Another source indicated that when the Knicks were up 2-1 in that series, there was still talk of a change.
Yeah, that's what jumped out to me, that Thibodeau himself believed that would be job security. And he outcoached Joe Mazzulla for 2 games, the first 2 games of the series.
He did.
He outcoached him the extent of the series. And even in game 4, before Jason Tatum goes down with a torn Achilles, the Knicks were winning that game. They were up 7, about to go up 9. If he injured himself on that attempt or not after that steal, same result would have happened. But it shows that after 5 years, Tom Thibodeau was the first head coach to make it 4 full seasons with the Knicks since Jeff Van Gundy in the late 90s to early 2000s. He showed sustainability. He got him out of rock bottom, back-to-back 50-win seasons. But at the end of the NBA, job security is really fickle. There's Eric Spoelstra, there's Steve Kerr, and then there's everyone else in this league. And Joe Mazzulla won a ring last year. Go ask Mike Malone how much job security winning an NBA title got him. Ask Mike Budenholzer. Go ask Nick Nurse, the Raptors and Bucks as well. Joe Mazzulla, before this even came down, I said that he has to be on notice, especially with how the Pacers defended the Knicks and continue to attack their weaknesses, because the Celtics have that personnel. Even more so now, Joe Mazzulla has to be on notice, because the guy that beat you got fired. The guy that outcoached you got fired. If you can't get these players to tap into their potential and at the peak of their ability, get them to win championships, he got one. They want another in Boston. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, they want another. If he can't pull through as a coach there, job's not there, man.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, is working against Mazzulla is schematically, I just don't think they're going to be able to do what he's been accustomed to doing. You're not going to be able to just come in and just chuck threes.
Yep.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
You don't have Tatum. We don't know about Jaylen Brown, health-wise, when you're going to have him, I'm saying. And then we know there's going to be new pieces here. Not everyone can shoot threes. So Mazzulla's at a disadvantage of you have to adjust how you coach or else. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I think he could be in real trouble here, but we'll see. For now, let's just laugh at the Knicks and all their pain, because this was a stupid move. If you're going to fire this guy next season, okay, fine, but he just took you to the Eastern Conference Finals. He deserves another year.
You don't fire someone this quick without knowing who the next guy is.
Oh,
Johnny Bryant, Mike Malone, Taylor Jenkins, watch for those names.
Okay, that remains to be seen. All right, in Patriots news, Will Campbell signed his rookie deal. Bro got paid. Okay, here it is, rap sheet, letting us know the deals. There it is, 4 years, 43.66, fully guaranteed. That's all my money. How about this, 28.39 signing bonus? Will Campbell got paid, bro.
Nice to be a top 5 pick. That fully guaranteed money. You lock up the guy on the left side of the offensive line. But I loved this, a reply. Did his agent also have to sign it for him since his arms couldn't reach the piece of paper? Hashtag should have taken Membu. That's from our guy, Kyle.
Kyle, you out of pocket for that, bro. That ain't right. He's trying to say he can't reach the paper. He's giving them the Jurassic arms. Come on, bro.
That's left tackle money.
Where'd Membu go, Jets?
Membu went to the Jets, and he'll be a right tackle for them because they have Olu Fashanu at left tackle, so he's going to play the position. The difference between Membu and Will Campbell, we've seen Will Campbell play left tackle. We've never seen Armand Membu play on that left side, but he had all the measurables, right? That's the thing with Will Campbell, man. If he can pull through as a left tackle, he would be a one-of-one prospect overall. Not a one-of-one offensive line prospect,
sure.
A one-of-one prospect because of his short wingspan. We don't see left tackles play with a sub-78-inch wingspan. I don't want to get too much in the arm
He's
measure.
a stopgap.
We have all summer to talk about it. Yeah, but those jokes will still follow.
He's a stopgap, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, then give me left tackle for what, a year? And then move to guard, which is probably your natural position. It's not like this contract doesn't reflect that. He's paid as such. This contract is a rookie deal, fully guaranteed, but it's a rookie deal that says we need you to be versatile, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what I saw here. I know the jokes about the short arms and stuff, but, like, the truth is, give me left tackle for a season and be serviceable, and then we can address it next offseason, and then we'll move you to guard where you'll dominate and be a Pro Bowler for 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. I don't think – I get, draft Membu and all that. They didn't, bro. Will Campbell's here. I think they're going to be just fine.
But you have to address the left tackle position eventually.
Eventually.
And Will Campbell is not a long-term left tackle by the history of the NFL. It's not the nerds saying this. It's the guys that have scouted the sport, coached the sport, saying a sub-80-inch wingspan does not work out as a long-term left tackle. That's why I say he'd be such a one-of-one. He has less than 78-inch wingspan. 2-inch difference matters.
But you don't
how tough it is for guys to get around.
You don't have an issue with the contract because you're GM George. You didn't look at his contract and roll your eyes.
They got the best offensive lineman.
Okay.
The worst offensive lineman in the NFL got the best offensive lineman. Yeah. But also talking this season, again, how tender it is for how this offensive line can perform. Left guard has to work. We don't know who it's going to be at left guard. Leighton Robinson, Cole Strange, throw in option C or D. If left guard doesn't work, what does Will Campbell do at left tackle? You have an undersized rookie left tackle. If he doesn't work out at left tackle, who ends up playing left tackle and protecting Drake May's blind side?
Yeah, you're putting all your eggs in a rookie's basket is really what it is.
To protect your who should be future franchise.
There's so many shoulda, woulda, couldas. Like, I just go back in my head to the offseason of not signing more offensive linemen or to the draft of not drafting more. I don't have a problem with Will Campbell.
Yeah.
But maybe you should have drafted even more offensive line. It's so many shoulda, woulda, couldas for this Patriots offensive line, and we're only in June. I get it, but it's still.
The toughest part of this is that Ronnie Stanley didn't even want to hit the open market.
Didn't even want to hit it.
Because if he did, they gave him money. They could still take Will Campbell at 4, and they would have had Ronnie Stanley at left tackle, Will Campbell at left guard. Entirely different conversation, and we're not making jokes as he inks that 100% fully guaranteed contract.
Facts. All right, still to come here on Boston has entered the chat. We'll go to Gotham City with an old friend to figure out what exactly happened behind the scenes to get Tibbs fired. And we have a great deal for you. If you sign up for the Nesson 360 annual plan, you get 2 free tickets to a Sox game. Sign up today at Nesson360.com for this limited time offer. Welcome back to Boston has entered the chat. George and I have been really making fun of New York because they're in anguish right now going through all this Knicks stuff. They do.
They deserve
the way they acted in Boston outside of TD Garden as they were beating our Celtics. It's just, it's not acceptable, George. No. So right now we're laughing at their pain, but at the same time, there's a lot of questions to be asked of exactly what the hell happened behind the scenes. So for answers, let's go to Gotham City with an old friend, shall we?
Yep.
Chelsea Sherrod of SNY joins us. This is bittersweet for a lot of reasons for George and I. Number one, we miss you so much around here. But number two, it's bittersweet because you are crushing it in New York. We are so proud of you. Welcome to the show. Thanks for waking up and joining us here this morning.
Of course. I was just saying, time really does fly. I feel like I was back with you guys. I don't know, was that a year or two ago?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it's great that, even though our, professional careers, our lives kind of take us in different directions, we can meet back here.
Yes.
You guys love to just pound and do everything you can to make Knicks fans feel some type of way, especially after a season like this. So let's just get into it.
Well, what happened? So George and I have been sitting here. I'll give him credit, and I hate doing that, Chels. But he told me really I think you said it in the Celtics series.
I said
George,
it middle of the Celtics series. The worst thing that could happen to the Knicks is they beat the Celtics because Thibs gets job security.
That's right. So here we are. And when he said that to me then, I said, you're crazy. They're not going to fire him. Why would they fire him? It's working. They go to the Eastern Conference Finals. They get bounced. But in my mind, that is ultimate job security. Yet here we are. So take us behind the curtain. What was happening behind the scenes? Was this something in New York that was being talked about anyways?
I mean, yeah, it was being talked about. Quite frankly, there were reports that even during the Pistons series, if the Knicks weren't able to get out of that series in the first round, that his job would kind of be in question. Our NBA insider, Ian Begley, reported that there were a couple of times that Leon Rose, the Knicks team president, and James Dolan, the team's owner, kind of were at a crossroads about where to go with Tom Thibodeau. And Leon Rose really went to bat for him a few times and pretty much secured his job during that time. And so I think that happened on 2 occasions that Ian reported. And so now I think that they just got to a point where, okay, we've invested so much into this team with building this roster. And even though he is by far their most successful coach over the past 2 decades, he's led them to their best season in the past 25 years, they still weren't able to get to the point that they wanted to get to, although this was a historic season. So quite frankly, yes, after taking down the Pistons, which was a questionable series, and then taking down the defending champions in the Celtics, I personally thought that he was safe. I thought that he avoided kind of that job security question. But obviously the Knicks feel like their window is closing and they're in a win now state. And they just feel like maybe they just need a fresh voice in there.
I love how you bring up what was happening in the earlier seasons in the postseason, because right after they get eliminated in the Eastern Conference Finals, Jalen Brunson scoffs at the idea of questioning Tom Thibodeau as a head coach. A few days later, he's gone. What do you think this does to reflect on Jalen Brunson and the leaders of this team? Because Brunson publicly backed him, and we know, Chelsea, the NBA is a star-driven league.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. At that point, I truly do believe, and I still believe that Jalen, along with some of the other stars, would go to bat for Tom Thibodeau. I believe that they really did like him as a coach and enjoyed playing under him. I don't believe that they were privy to those conversations. Ian Begley, again, he also reported that the team had meetings with some of the top players. They had meetings with Tom Thibodeau, kind of like just doing like the end of year interviews, exit interviews, whatever. So I'm sure that that's when that information was relayed to them. But I think that, just for a guy like Jalen Brunson, as far as leadership is concerned, that is what you want to hear from your star, that no matter who it is in the head coaching position, that they are going to buy into what they were doing. Tom Thibodeau brought this team from the depths. I mean, they missed the playoffs for 7 straight seasons, and then they made the playoffs 4 out of the 5 seasons that he was there. So obviously, Jalen, Josh, they made some really big moves of bringing in Mikal and regrouping, the Villanova core that they had in college, bringing in Karl Anthony Towns. So Tom Thibodeau played a big role in trying to bring all of that talent together. And I just hope that moving forward that, they bring in a coach that allows the players to have a voice. I do believe that Tom Thibodeau was willing to listen to some of those guys, and so that they can kind of work in tandem.
Chelsea, you can fire coaches. You can't fire idiot owners. And that's clearly what James Dolan is. So my question to you is, because I know George is going to ask you, who's next? And it's going to be all these like sexy, big name marquee coaches. But my thing is, as I sit where I'm sitting, if I'm a big name coach, why in the hell do I want to play for that owner? I mean, this guy fires Tibbs after, we've just illustrated what Tibbs has done there. Then you can't even get right with Charles Oakley. Like, you banned Charles Oakley from the Garden. This guy messes up everything he touches. If I'm a big name coach, yes, I see the money, but isn't some of this, like, I don't want to work for that guy, or do you think I'm tripping?
No, I mean, I don't think you're tripping at all. I love that you're so colorful in the way that you talk about these things, Trav. But no, I don't think you're tripping. I think that's a legitimate question. And I think that especially after this firing and it coming 3 days after they lose an Eastern Conference Finals, people are saying, okay, someone needs to answer for this. Yes. Either Leon or James Dolan needs to answer. We all know James Dolan's history. And again, just like I mentioned, Leon Rose going to bat for Tibbs a couple of times. Obviously, there was some friction between James Dolan and Tom Thibodeau, or there may have been times when Dolan was trying to maybe go in a different direction, and Leon was like, no, let's stay with Tibbs. And if Dolan was able to do that, then we probably wouldn't have the Knicks team that we have today that just made history. So I think that is a valid question for coaches to ask themselves if they're considering coming to the Knicks. But that also is something where quite frankly, like, this firing doesn't happen unless Leon Rose signs off on it. So even though James Dolan might have, this thought, or he wants to do this and wants to make a firing or a hiring, like, when it came to Tom Thibodeau, Leon Rose also had to give the okay. So this wasn't just a Dolan, like, all right, this guy's out the door. Like, they had those conversations, and this is, where they came to. But yeah, I think that's a legitimate question. But at the end of the day, like, Dolan isn't going anywhere anytime soon. So.
And you got this team back to the East Conference Finals, signs off to trade for these guys. All right, the one name that circles around, we have to go back to, let's think, last offseason.
All right.
Dan Hurley with Connecticut, coming off back-to-back national championships.
Yeah.
Swooned by the Lakers, $70 million on the table. He said, I'm good, I'm going to stay at Connecticut. Dan Hurley with Connecticut still, from Jersey City, grew up down the street from Madison Square Garden. How realistic is it that Dan Hurley himself would actually consider this Knicks job? Before we even get to, would the Knicks go after Dan Hurley?
I'm laughing because George is from Jersey, so he loves talking about anything New Jersey.
Yes, he does.
From there?
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
But, I think, of course, Dan Hurley would consider coaching for the Knicks. Like, he was a Knicks fan growing up, like you mentioned, like, being from Jersey, playing under his dad, being really, really close to Madison Square Garden. If that was a choice that he could make, I think that when I spoke to him last summer, right after he made the decision to return to UConn, he was saying that the one regret that he does have was that it was the Lakers that came calling, because the Lakers are this storied franchise. He could have potentially coached LeBron James, one of the greatest, arguably the greatest player of all time. But he said that he returned to UConn because he was in a position where he could win championships. And I think any coach that finds themselves in that position would want to fulfill that and would want to kind of like ride that out and see what happens. And so he had a chance to make history in winning 3 straight. Obviously, that didn't happen. He did sign that extension with UConn. I believe it was for like 5 years, like $50 million or something. So they took care of him in that way because they believe in him. And at the time, and again, this is arguably, he is the best coach in college basketball as far as the men's side is concerned. Obviously, the Knicks job is more attractive to him because he didn't want to move across the country. He spoke with his wife about it and having to pick up their entire lives and move to California. But this one is kind of like in his backyard. So I think if that conversation were to happen, if the Knicks did go after him, yeah, it would be more attractive for him. Do I think that they'll go after him? No. I don't know how realistic those reports are or that idea is, only because, like I said before, the Knicks right now are in a win-now state. And so I believe that they would probably want to bring in someone with more championship on the NBA level, more championship experience. And just, again, Tom Thibodeau, what he did with the Knicks, like, he was a winner. Even when he was with the Bulls, the Timberwolves, like, he has a win percentage of .579, which is the highest among head coaches in the NBA that have not made a finals. So he could win, but can he win when they, need him to the most? Like, can he get them to the promised land? And so right now, I think they're looking for a coach to do that. And there are a ton of names that are out there, the Mike Malones, the Johnny Bryant, like those names. So I think that that's kind of what's on their frontal cortex, on the front of their minds. Obviously, for many reasons, I would love the Dan Hurley move, just because if any city is going to be able to handle Dan Hurley's personality, it's New York. But I think also, because of where they are right now and how winning is in the front of mind, like, do they really want that distraction, so to speak? Like, do they want that type of entertainment in that way being projected out there? I don't know. But also, being a Connecticut girl, I'd love for Dan Hurley to for a little longer.
Stand up for Connecticut. Why not? Now, and that's what I think with Dan Hurley is the best coach in college basketball right now. But in a way, he would remind me of a Tom Thibodeau, where hard-nosed, plays his guys in the ground, plays tough basketball, very intense. If they go with the Dan Hurley, let's say, do you see him translating to the NBA? Because he also said, after turning down Lakers' job, he likes controlling the players, the coaching staff, the schedule, when they practice and for how long. It would be tough for me to see him walk away from UConn, where he is the guy. He runs that university into a place like the NBA, where we saw Tibbs back-to-back 50-win seasons, Eastern Conference Finals, and then get fired.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, George, I think that that's a valid question because I truly don't know. I mean, things are very different. You're not coaching 18, 19, 20-year-olds anymore. Like, you're coaching guys who are 30 years old with their own lives. You're coaching guys who are superstars. There are certain ways that you have to talk to some of those guys. Like, the conversations are very different. And so I'm not sure as far as like that comparison between him and Thibodeau about them kind of just sticking with their core group of starters and not really utilizing their bench. I do think that played a role in Tom Thibodeau's firing. And so would you want to bring in a guy who has a similar coaching style where you're not necessarily utilizing your entire roster, you're not necessarily developing your younger core as much as you should be, so when you do reach these big moments, they're able to perform the way that you need them to perform? I'm not sure. So that would be tough. I think also like the transition from a college season to an 86-plus game season in the NBA, like that's a transition in itself. So I think that Dan Hurley would go through a transition period himself. Like, I think that his style would have to change just a little bit if he were to, make that jump to the NBA. Obviously, I think for any coach, you want to be able to coach on the highest level. So I'm sure that he would do that or change or transform as much as he was willing to. But I'm not sure. I think that's a valid question. That would have to be, something that would be discussed further with Hurley and with the Knicks. I will say this, though. Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, they all, to me, are like the best or the most ideal players to play under like system-ish coaches. Okay. Like when you look at like Jay Wright, and what they did at Villanova. Like, they all bought into what he was trying to do. Right. I feel like all of those guys are willing to, I don't know if conform is the right word, but they're willing to allow their coach to set them up for success in a way, instead of being like, okay, this is the way that I do things. I'm hard-nosed, I'm stubborn, like, I want to be a slasher, whatever. Like, they will buy into that. So if a guy like Dan Hurley were to go there and, run his system or whatever, I'm sure that those guys would be open to doing it. Right. I don't know. I don't know how that would go.
Well, listen, you're dealing with all the Knicks drama better than George and I are dealing with the Cardi B and Steph drama. So we appreciate you, Chels. Thank you, as always, for coming on the show, and keep shining out there in New York. We miss you here. Thank you very much.
Love you, Chels.
Thank you guys so much. Miss you guys, too.
Hey, George, it's true. She's dealing with that drama way better than we are.
I would take the Knicks drama, the Thibs drama over the Stefon. I was here for Diggs and Cardi B. I'm not anymore, man. Once Offset got on social media, I'm like, all right.
That was where you drew the line?
We start our mornings with our viewers. We appreciate you guys, man.
It was the Tusi and the twerking for me. I said, you know what? Travis has left the chat.
I didn't mind either. You didn't mind either? I'm not going to act like I know how to twerk. I'm not going to act like I've done Tusi, but I didn't mind it. So the rest.
Hey, how do you guys feel? Email us, thechat@nesson.com, tweet at us, #NessonChat, call us 617-790-0928. We want to hear from you. And we ain't done here. We're just getting started. Boston has entered the chat. More to come. Roll with us.
I've covered every game he's managed just about. I've never heard him like that. I've heard him very sort of despondent, quiet. I've heard him angry, but this is a different level.
Oh, pain. Welcome back to Boston has entered the chat. Travis, Thomas George Balekji. I'm even looking at a stat here that's blowing my mind. So 4-3, another extra inning loss for the Sox last night. 4-3, they fall to the Angels.
Another one-run loss, too.
One run. Eight losses in their last 10 games. 4 of them one-run losses.
Yeah, 14 of their last 21. They're now just a few games away from being on the bottom of the American League. And what we've seen, the ongoing trend, too, look at their last 3 losses. 10 strikeouts last night. 10 strikeouts a loss before. 14 strikeouts
errors
as well. It was 3 fielding errors in this game, and now they lead Major League Baseball in total errors and fielding errors as well.
Bro.
They are the second worst team in MLB since the start of May for strikeouts. The Los Angeles Angels are the team that's number 1. And it is the repetitive nature of this, repeating the bad habits. Looking like they don't know what to do in the field, the fielding errors, the strikeouts. Going 1 for 13 like they did last night with runners in scoring position. 9th inning, man on second. And what happens? Fly out, strikeout, ground out. Extra inning in the 10th, man on second. Strikeout, fly out to end the game, and then lose 4-3. This is part 2 where you'll have Garrett Crochet go out and shove, and he can be the stopper, and he did that on Sunday. Brian Bayo finally gets a 6-inning pitch, only allowed 3 earned runs. Cool, did his job. Bullpen stepped up. But it is this defense letting their pitchers down. It's the offense not pulling through. And what TC points out of Alex Cora's been here. We know what he did in 2018. We know what he did upon his return to Boston. He's always been that type of guy that understands, look, it's baseball. It's 162 games. He doesn't try to make things bigger than they are.
Yeah.
The next day, the beauty of baseball, you lose, the next day you show up and you can literally keep swinging and keep pitching. You have to. It's the game.
Right.
I can't take the ball away from you, right? But for him to step up like this, speak with dejection, just sounded straight up fed up, and he knows, he took accountability, but at the same time, he pointed out routine ground balls for double plays we don't turn. We throw to the wrong bases. We miss cutoff guys. There's a lot of bad right now. He's fed up with what he's seeing on the field. He's speaking to the players. It's a matter of them taking his coaching, his managing, and applying it on the field, and they're just not pulling through for him.
I mean, it just goes on. Thankfully, working here at Nesson, you get so many stats, so many notes. 17 one-run losses, most errors in the major leagues, as you said. And you mentioned losing ground in the AL East. I'm looking at this right now. Only the A's, Orioles, and White Sox are below the Red Sox in the American League in terms of the record. Like, they do not. This team's way too talented to be down there with the A's, O's, and White Sox. You got to be kidding me. What I see when I watch this team is an identity crisis in a sense of how they are constructed right now with injuries and everything. They haven't adjusted. They should. When you watch them, they really should be playing small ball. They really should be trying to manufacture runs, get guys, moving around the bases, trying to get runs that way. Instead, they're still on this, and that's why the strikeouts are there. They're still on this home run, analytics, exit velo, launch angle, all this stuff. No, just play old school baseball, get on base, get home. That's it. Small ball, keep it moving. They should almost be the opposite in how they play. They should be small ball offensively, and then defensively you have to be stout. You'll be in games that way, and then you can win some of them. But I think because of how they play, George, stylistically, this is why we see what we see. And it's almost incredible that they're in these games. Like they should, if you win half of those, I just said 17 one-run losses, right? You win half of those, your season's different.
Exactly. I mean, they're 6-17 overall in those one-run loss games. But it's just a matter of how it's being lost. It's not being able to drive runners in. It's striking out a ton. Again, since the beginning of May, they have the second most strikeouts in Major League Baseball. The only team worse than them are the Los Angeles Angels, who just beat them 2 games. What were we saying coming into this series?
Sweep.
Right? Awesome. You took 2 of 3 against the Braves. Yeah, this is a team you should sweep. At the bare minimum, you say, all right, win another series. Then you have your rival Yankees in the Bronx, right? Like that's what it was. But they show up, they fall short in game 1, they fall short in game 2. And when it's the same thing over and over again, at what point do you say, okay, as Alex Cora said, I've done it coaching. I've told them how to fix it. Now, he's taking accountability. This falls on me. I am the manager. But he does point out, and this is a guy that always will have his players' backs, will back them publicly all the time. But it is a matter of, and this lineup, this defense is talented. They have a lot of potential. It's not that the Red Sox are putting out a team that lacks the talent, that lacks a major league level ability to play every day. We know these guys are better than this. That's what makes it frustrating. They know they're better than this in that clubhouse as well. But it's doing the little things right. It's hitting for contact, putting a ball in play, and advancing runners. It's not hitting home runs.
That's right.
It is fielding balls cleanly and getting the outs you need, and knowing how to make reads. Abraham Toro either making that throw home or turning it for a double play.
Sure.
Stopping that run, making the little things happen. The same thing with you go back to the Milwaukee series of Christian Campbell. Get a ball, hit to you slow, flip it a second, get it out. Instead, muffed it to home plate. Run scores, right? It's just we've seen these things and they become so magnified because it's a Boston Red Sox, because they've struggled the last 3 years.
Well, they had
but also because
expectations.
exactly
Yeah.
they go out get a Garrett Crochet,
Yes.
they go out and get an Alex Bregman. Now, not having a Bregman in the lineup hurts, and not having him defensively hurts.
Of course.
But these guys are still too good to make these types of mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's where the frustration comes from Alex Cora. When someone's upset, it's like anything in sports. When a coach is upset with you, you honestly want that. If they don't care about you, that means they don't see anything in you. Yeah. We see this from Alex Cora because he cares about this team. He sees how talented they are. He knows their potential. And right now, they're letting themselves down. It's as simple as that. Forget the expectations, forget the city, forget the fans. But they take that into account because they know it. It is Boston. There's no other city better to win in than Boston. They have to look at themselves and say, this isn't good enough for me. And if they accept that, then it would translate to the field. That's what you want to see. That's what Alex Cora wants to see.
There's also no silver lining in terms of if this team was losing on the road in this fashion, then you could really pinpoint and say, okay, when we go on the road, we have to kind of button it up a little better, right? We got to figure out our road woes, so to speak.
Yeah.
But this team doesn't win on the road, and they're 500 at home. That's what's killing me is, okay, sometimes in these situations, a team's better at home, and on the road, they just have to, especially with young teams across sports, okay, they have to figure it out on the road. That will come. You can be patient as a fan. But with this team, yes, they're young, but they also have a lot of veterans here. And it's like, I don't understand. You don't win on the road. You don't win at home either. And it's the same mistakes over and over again. It is Groundhog's Day, and it feels like a nightmare with this baseball team. Now, the good thing about Boston has entered the chat is George and I, we do run our mouths, but we love hearing from you. You can always email us, thechat@nesson.com. You can always tweet at us using the hashtag NessonChat. Call us as well, 617-790-0928. This is a safe Red Sox space, and we hear from Nolan, who had a voicemail he left us about the state of the Sox. Take a listen.
Hey there, guys. My name's Nolan. I'm from Boxford, Massachusetts. And honestly, after some of these games, what I'm kind of thinking is, as a fan, we need to get Roman Anthony up here because these games are hard to watch. You know, it's like, at least if we have him up here, there's a reason for me to turn the TV on and watch these games. And I think that what we have to do is get Christian Campbell out of the lineup for now. What we're trying to do is we're trying to teach him too many positions when he really still hasn't figured out the bat. Obviously, he's been hitting horribly. So you give him some time to get in the cage or just have him be secure at one position so that, like, he's not worried about doing a million different things. Move Sadon to second base, put Roman in left, and put Jaron in center. That way we actually have, I mean, obviously there's the horrible little mistakes we're making, but now I'm actually wanting to watch games, and I'm having fun watching games because we have Anthony in the lineup, and maybe that's the boost that we need. While we just give Christian Campbell some time to figure it out. I don't know. This is what I was thinking as the way to figure it out, and I'm sad right now when I'm watching, so I just want anything exciting, really. But
we feel you, Nolan. Listen, I agree with a lot of what he said, but I do disagree. He said this team is hard to watch. I disagree, and maybe it's me. I enjoy watching this team because I always feel like in the end they're going to win. I'm that guy where I'm like, all right, let's go, boys. We're going to turn it around. And then they lose the exact same way they did the night before. I don't think they're hard to watch. I think it's hard to stomach sometimes at the end of these games. And now that it's such a pattern and such a habit, now I go into it thinking, here we go again.
And that's what makes them hard to watch. And that's why I love that call from Nolan. I mean, you hear him. He has that passion for the team. But is he justified to be discouraged? Certainly so.
Yes.
I mean, we've mapped out all the stats, and it's been the same thing time and time again. What I do disagree with is I'm losing a reason to watch this team. Marcelo Myers still taking reps at the major league level.
Yeah.
Jaren Duran has been getting better as the calendar has flipped to
Rappy
June.
swinging.
Once every 5 games, you have Garrett Crochet on the bump.
Crochet shoving.
But baseball, if you play every day, you can't just say, well, watch once every 5.
Right.
You have to be a team that's good and consistent and in it.
Well
162 games, and that's what this Red Sox team is missing. Now to a second point of, if you bring up a Roman Anthony too, and this is what I want to get to, and we've spoken about it in the past.
About it.
Roman Anthony will give you a reason to watch, but Roman Anthony alone won't make that consistent.
That's right.
That's a lot to ask of a rookie. Now, of course, in the same night where we see the Red Sox lose in the same fashion as normal, Roman Anthony hits a game-tying home run late in the game. And just watching him trot around the base path, I'm like, man, that guy looks like a major leaguer. Like,
Bring
just
him
how he's
up.
built, how good he is with the swing.
Bring him up. Just the expectations need to relax.
But and that's what goes back to Craig Breslow saying we need to be mindful of the environment that he's in, the pressure he's facing. We don't want to shatter the confidence.
That's right.
Right now, Christian Campbell, again, going back to Nolan, doesn't look confident. He's been hitting, his batting average is 140 since the beginning of May. And I think the Red Sox have to make the difficult decision, but at this point, what's best for Christian Campbell? If they send him down to AAA, refines his bat, the stakes aren't as high, the mistakes are okay because it's minor league ball, and then bring him back up, it's a shuffling the lineup any which way. It's not, to me, finding a spot for Roman Anthony. It's doing what's best for Christian Campbell and this team right now. It's short-term versus long-term, and it's difficult. It's Christian Campbell struggling, but it's not only him. Willie Abreu was hitting just above 150 since the start of May himself. Jaren Duran wasn't fantastic to start the season. We'll see if he can make June consistent. Trevor Story as well, with a batting average of 170, again, since the month of May. There are guys you could sit. There are guys you could send down. I've been a proponent of let Trevor Story sit for a little bit. Just take his time, get his eye back. That would bring a Roman Anthony back in.
Sure.
But whatever environment you bring a Roman Anthony into, you want him to be playing every day. He needs these at-bats every day. It's what you need for Meyer. It's what you need for Campbell. It's what you need for Roman. But it is that walk and that balance. What's best for them at the major league level? Where's best for them to develop? What's best for them long term?
Man.
That was a great call from Nolan, though.
It was.
You hear it.
You
and
can
I get
hear it.
Again, like the discouragement, how upset he is.
Pain.
It's justified.
Yeah.
Because this is a team,
pain.
the last 3 years has missed the postseason. This is a team with expectations.
Yes.
They had a great offseason.
They did.
Dealt their injuries. It is the standard of baseball in Boston, which is justified.
Yeah.
Playing good baseball. And we're just not seeing that right now.
Bro, they not only had a good offseason, all the offseason acquisitions have been balling. They've all done well. When does that happen? Where you bring in these guys in the offseason, they do their thing, and you're still not winning games because of the players you depended on from last season who played well are not performing now. It's a mess right now, but hey, we're in this together, and we'll see. Giolito on the bump today. We'll see if they can get a win against the Angels. Now, George, let's switch gears when we come back here on Boston Has Entered the Chat. Because after all that, you mean to tell me Stefon Diggs still ain't out the woods yet? We'll discuss it. And remember, get the latest up-to-date live. We've got Boston Sports headlines, along with your daily dose of trending sports and social topics every weekday on Boston Has Entered the Chat. Catch us live at 8 a.m. on Nesson and 9 a.m. on Nesson Nation. That's every Monday through Friday.
Preferably. The one thing that stood out yesterday, Jaheim Bell, who a lot of people like, Felgren Man's big board pick.
Yes, it was.
Had a low case of the drops yesterday. I think he had 3 or 4, so that's what stood out as bad.
Bye-bye.
I like their running back room if everybody can stay healthy. I think Stevenson is going to be helped with a lighter workload to allow him to stay fresher. Travion Henderson, we talked about with the wide receivers. They needed explosive speed on this offense. And Travion Henderson is somebody who has that.
And they were doing a lot of 2 running back stuff?
There's been a good amount of that. Yep. Another UDFA, Lan Larison, has shown some encouraging signs. Again, no pads.
I shouldn't have asked. Here comes the deluge of names. Go ahead.
This is the only. Lan Larison has shown some upside. No pads, so we'll see. Same thing with Chisholm, but he's going to have a chance to make the team. And Antonio Gibson, I thought, when he had a chance last year, looked good and probably should have played more. And he's a guy that plays a style Josh McDaniels is going to like. So I like where their running back room's at. It was kind of teetery at times last year, but I think Stevenson being healthy and then adding Henderson and potentially Larison, like, it's a good, well-rounded room.
Lan Larison.
Here we go.
You got to have a nickname for him, too.
I'm
You're
just
gonna
telling
have
you.
F and Efton.
So the fact that you like their running back room, but their receiver room is still such hot garbage.
Their running backs are ahead of their receivers, yes.
Not good. Not a good thing.
Not good. Alex Barth there weighing in on the Patriots situation with Stefon Diggs and the offense and all of it.
Our boy Barth, man.
I mean, How screwed would this offense be? Because we're already thinking this isn't going to be a great offense. Drake May still taking his steps, but we're looking around the pieces of Drake May.
Yeah.
We don't know if the offensive line is going to be better. We certainly think it will be, but we don't know.
Yeah.
The running backs, the receivers. I mean, your best receiver's on a boat, okay? Partying. Too hard.
Not denying any of this. Yeah.
So, like, how screwed would this offense be if they get rid of Stefon Diggs? Because that's still on the table. He is not out of the woods yet.
No.
There's all kinds of things bubbling about Stefon Diggs online.
He's not out of the woods by any means. I mean, if you get rid of a Stefon Diggs, a guy that can just like be the difference maker in this offense, it's not even about him on the field. He looks fine. It's everything off the field.
Yes.
And that's the issue. Finally, the Patriots get something right. They bring in a big receiver, and then we have this happening. You see the tweet on your screen. Offset speaks. So he tweeted out, now, when somebody die for playing with my son, then call me the crash out.
Right.
I don't care how I look trolling with my kid ends bad. I don't care how I look.
Right.
Trolling with my kid ends bad. He then deleted those tweets. And what Offset is referencing is that his son that he had with Cardi B got the same type of braids done that Stefon Diggs has. Man, like, it's just to the point of, like, this is toxic on all ends. For Cardi B to do that and purposely to piss off Offset, for him to go on social media and say this, for Offset to tweet out a gift saying, today I passed, and Stefon Diggs to post on his Instagram, him catching a pass, saying, my ball. That's what everything is. It's all off the field. They finally get a good player on the field, but it's all off the field. And this is, again, it goes back to this is the noise you don't want with this team right now. You point out the offensive line, man. One injury happens to that offensive line, I don't know what the success of the team is going to look like.
Right.
You point out this receiving room. If Stefon Diggs can't keep it together, keep everything quiet off the field and flock in on the field, then it's, again, a really young receiving room that is still very inexperienced and not that talented for your rookie quarterback. And then that affects everything else. This is still, again,
second-year quarterback.
This is why, and this is why I say with everything that it's a 2-3 year rebuild for the Patriots. But year one under Mike Vrabel is important as a foundational year.
Sure.
They can't even get to training camp without this type of stuff.
Oh, my God.
What is it going to look like as it boils over the entire course of the summer and then during the season? Like, you got to keep stuff focused. The main thing. And Stefon Diggs is doing anything but that. A guy that they paid. They gave him the money when he signed. They gave him the guaranteed money in the contract, and he has the incentives to make a ton.
Sure.
But he's not keeping it about football. And it's not only on him, it's on his partner. And again, I keep saying that, like, they're an extension of each other. You're a unit. When you're dating Cardi B and Stefon Diggs, they're a unit. And I can't believe I'm saying this.
It's true, though.
She has to keep it locked in, too. But her world, this is what works.
Yes.
But her world and Stefon Diggs' world as a football player don't match. But then it goes back to those Mike Giardi reports where he sees himself as more of a football player. He likes everything that comes with football, which isn't bad. But when it's becoming this, then it becomes
distractions, right? I'll take you into that world because I'm a huge Cardi B fan musically. I had to unfollow her on every social media years ago because of the Offset situation. Every time you turn around, George, she was going on Spaces or IG Live or you name it. That's why I unfollowed her, airing out their grievances. And when I say airing them out, I mean really airing them out, okay? So this isn't going anywhere. Sure, the Offset thing's another example. You know it's bad. I saw Antonio Brown clowning bro on Twitter yesterday. If Antonio Brown is clowning you, you have hit rock bottom, sir.
I mean, hate AB, but this was so
This
good.
is hilarious.
I cannot deny the greatness
Cover
of
of Madden with Stefon Diggs and these girls calling him daddy, and he's passing out in, we're not sure, but we're sure substance. So
that is great. I got to give it to
my
him.
point is, if Cardi B's in your life now, right?
Yeah.
This is not going away in terms of if you two have issues, she is going out on public domains.
Oh, yeah.
And she is saying Stefon did this, this, and this, and he ain't doing that, and he ain't blank, right? So now we got to hear all that. So let's say we're in week 6 and you're playing well, and then they get a fight, and now this is all over TMZ and all over the internet. Like, oh my God, we got to deal with that. So that's something the Patriots have to think about. However, They should have just listened to me from the beginning because I told you this was a wrong move. Not so much to sign him, but to sign him, to bring him in as a leader, to pay him what you paid him. You should have put him on a veteran minimum, which he may have turned down because maybe you can get I don't think he had a robust market. But maybe
he
you
had
get a little
enough of
more.
a market where they had
enough.
to give him these numbers and
No, they
23
didn't.
million guaranteed.
Then that's a mistake. I would have
That is a leverage play. They had to give him these numbers.
Then I would have rather gone into the season with what I had at wide receiver and figured it out. Because what you're not going to get out of him is leadership. And here's a big one. I don't think these distractions are going away.
Yeah,
There's
I agree.
other things on the internet going on that have been whispers for years with Stefon Diggs that are getting louder.
Resurfaced.
Well, they're getting louder.
Yeah.
Because the block is hot. Like he's in the spotlight.
And
his profile has been risen. And so now a lot of things from the past are starting to creep in. I'm telling you, this was a mistake from the beginning, George.
It was, especially because, and it was what I said after, and I made the joke, but I was serious. Mike Vrabel's best friend could be Cardi B. Again, if they're partying on boats, she's the one that says no phones around, right? If she gets him to lock in and not be doing that at all. But now it gets to the point, if she's part of the reason that's contributing for Stefon Diggs doing this stuff, exactly why it's not going away.
Right.
Because it doesn't seem like them two as a unit is going away.
No.
But if it becomes this big of a distraction and it affects the football team like this, you signed him to contribute as a football player. You did not sign him to get retweets. You did not sign him to get attention. And you didn't sign him so he could go out and live his best life to this extent.
Right.
I like the signing bringing in as a football player. But if this is all the stuff you're getting as a person, then he is not sustainable to stay on this team. That's the issue. Same thing, same crap we've given Bill Belichick time and time again for how his girlfriend is affecting his legacy and his image and him doing his job. Same thing here. Stefon Diggs either has to get it all in check or the Patriots have to get it in check.
Bro, what you're saying is true. Like, if Vrabel can get to her and get this guy to calm down, great. Here's the issue. She's attracted to the savage side of Stefon Diggs. You're talking like he's an R&B dude. He's not an R&B dude. He ain't R&B smooth. He's a savage. That's what she likes. I'm telling you, this is going to continue to be our worst nightmare.
But
Thanks
again,
for watching.
this is her world.
I know.
That's it, too.
I don't want to be in it.
This is her doing
I don't
her
want to
thing.
be in it anymore.
Yeah.
Thanks for rolling with us. Hey, we keep it going on Nessa Nation. We keep the party going, so stay with us there. And remember this, get the latest up-to-date live. We've got Boston sports headlines along with your daily dose of trending and social topics every weekday on Boston Has Entered the Chat. Catch us 8 a.m. right here on Nesson, 9 a.m. on Nesson Nation.